December 1992. A holiday flight to Portugal's sun-drenched coast turns into one of the most controversial air disasters in history. The aircraft was a McDonnell Douglas DC-10 named Anthony Rise. It was carrying 340 people, most heading home for Christmas. In Amsterdam, the flight was delayed. A faulty thrust reverser couldn't be fixed, but the plane was cleared to fly regardless. At 5:52 a.m., Flight 495 departed for Faro. No one knew they were flying into the heart of a perfect storm. As they approached Portugal, the weather deteriorated rapidly. A massive thunderstorm was waiting just 7 miles from the airport. At 8:29 a.m., the control tower delivered a chilling message. The runway was flooded. The pilots decided to proceed. The approach became unstable. Heavy rain and low clouds blinded the crew as they fought to keep the heavy DC-10 on course. Suddenly, they hit it. A microburst, an intense, localized downdraft that robs an aircraft of its lift in seconds. In the chaos, the crew made a critical decision. They reduced engine power to idle while still far from the runway. Without power and pushed by the wind, the DC-10 began to drop like a rock. The sink rate reached a terrifying 1,000 feet per minute. At 8:33 a.m., Flight 495 struck the runway with a force far beyond its design limits. The right landing gear instantly collapsed. The right wing tore away, rupturing fuel tanks. The aircraft slid for over a kilometer, breaking apart and erupting into flames. 56 people were killed. Over 100 more were left with life-altering injuries. The holiday flight had become a massacre. The investigation that followed was as volatile as the storm. 2 countries, 2 different conclusions. Portugal blamed the high sink rate and crosswinds. The Dutch investigators pointed the finger squarely at the pilots. Decades later, new investigations claimed the Dutch report omitted key data to protect the airline's reputation. In 2020, nearly 30 years after the crash, a Dutch court finally ruled. Martinair was partially responsible for the wrongful acts of its crew. The tragedy of Flight 495 led to massive improvements in wind shear detection and pilot training for extreme weather. But for the survivors and the families of the victims, the scars of that morning in Faro will never fully heal. A story of a storm, a series of fatal choices, and a 30-year battle for the truth. Martinair Flight 495, a reminder of the thin line between a safe landing and a catastrophe. In memory of the 56 lives lost on December 21, 1992.